Our theory is the cognitive behavioral theory. It's a goal-directed theory, which is why our goal for this activity is to produce a safe and calming activity that can produce an end product that can be used outside of therapy for lowering anxiety. This theory believes that thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all closely interact. By adjusting one aspect, you can adjust all three. ZBT is a subtype of this theory, which typically is used for borderline personality disorder, but we adapted it to work for those with anxiety. This theory teaches the mind to focus on one thing and to look at the overall big picture. Interpersonal effectiveness is another aspect. Interpersonal effectiveness can be used more if it was not a one-on-one group, but it can still be applied to the client's everyday life. Emotional regulation is another aspect of this theory. Emotional regulation is another aspect of DBT, which allows you to identify your emotions and to build the skills to counter negative emotions while promoting positive ones. Stress tolerance is the final aspect, which is finding a client's panic or anxiety triggers and developing the skills needed to counteract these triggers, such as the calming activity we're going to be doing today.
For our particular activity, which is creating bath bombs, we chose to focus on adolescents between the ages of 14 and 18 who are experiencing anxiety. The DBT principles were adapted to fit the clientele group with anxiety. The four components of DBT, which are core mindfulness, interpersonal effectiveness, regulation of emotions, and distress tolerance, can all be applied to this age group and challenge. We decided to focus on adolescents because we feel that anxiety is a prominent challenge that adolescents are facing today due to the spike in mass media as well as social media. In addition, our population may be experiencing added anxiety from their everyday challenges. These challenges may include stress from school, undergoing puberty, and maneuvering through their self-identity process.
For the room requirements, we will need at least one chair and one table. For a larger group, however, you will need enough chairs to seat the entire group, plus enough table space for each individual. We'll also need adequate lighting to properly see our supplies. We will need a sink to get the water from and to clean up after we are finished with the activity. No furniture movement was required. For the room requirements, we will need at least one table and one chair for our participant. If we were to have a larger group, we would need enough table space for both the ingredients and for each person to work on. Adequate lighting will be needed so we can properly see our activity. A sink is also needed so we can get water from it for the activity and to clean up once we are finished. Because of the room we're in, we didn't have to arrange any furniture for this activity. Due to the location of our production, we were not required to move any furniture.
Finally, we will go over a list of ingredients and their cost. First is the bath bomb mold, which costs $10 for a set of 12. These are bath bomb molds. They're metal circles, which will go together to create the bath bomb. The second ingredient that we will be using is sea salt, which costed $1. Our third ingredient is baking soda, which was $2 for one box. The next ingredient is the Body Safe dyes. We have a variety of different colors, including lilac, peach, yellow, blue, pink, orange, lime, red, and turquoise. The dyes collectively cost $4. The next ingredient is citric acid, which is not very safe for those with sensitive skin. So as a result, we decided to substitute that with cornstarch. Total cost of this is $1 for a can. The next ingredient is lavender, which we decided to use for its well-known calming properties. The total cost of this was $3. The last two ingredients that we will be using are olive oil, which costs $4, and water, which we got for free since we have the sink. Since our activity will be performed on a one-on-one basis, the total cost of this activity would be $25 for one client. If we were to conduct this activity with more than one client, for example, 10 clients, it would be $2.50 per client.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm going to be working with you today. How are you feeling today?
I'm pretty good. I'm not feeling super anxious right now, but
Okay, that's great. Well, to start off, I'm actually going to have you fill out this. It's just a little scale. 0 being you're great, you're calm, and 10 is you're really anxious about something. And I just kind of want you to place yourself on the scale, see where you are on it, and then
so I just circle one.
yep, just go ahead and circle wherever you think you might be right now with your anxiety.
Okay. I said 6.
All right, is there a reason you're placing yourself at a 6 right now?
I mean, I kind of feel a little anxious just because I've never made a bath bomb before.
Okay, well, it's a lot of fun. It's really easy. There's nothing to be nervous about with it.
But I'm not super nervous because I'm just really excited.
Great, I'm glad you're excited. All right, so next I actually just have a little worksheet for you to fill out. It's just going to see what kind of things bring about your anxiety and what kind of things you do to help with it.
Okay.
So you just go ahead and fill it out and then we'll talk about it. Great. Do you mind sharing anything with me about the first part, about what triggers your anxiety?
Well, I said when I'm in large crowds and what people think of me.
Okay. All right, and what kind of things do you do right now to help with that?
Well, sometimes I just try to avoid the large crowds because I don't like the way that they make me feel. Sometimes I like to listen to music or sing or make some crafts because that helps a lot.
Okay. Well, hopefully doing the bath bomb will give you another thing that you can do to help when these triggers come about. Now, how do these make you feel when these events happen?
Well, if I'm in large crowds, sometimes I feel a little sick.
Okay.
And sometimes people's thoughts of me make me really sad because I sometimes will go on Facebook or Instagram and then I get sad whenever I look at other people's posts because I get worried that they're about me. I also wrote down that school triggers my anxiety and it makes me pick my fingers sometimes because I get too worried about it. So I like to draw on my papers
Okay.
to help me calm down. And then I said that I have some fears about my future or changing different things, and I think sometimes that causes me to like pick my fingers again or like bounce my legs, and that makes me like feel really panicked. So that's why I make crafts and
Okay. Well, doing crafts and singing are great skills right now to have, and hopefully the bath bomb will give you just another thing you can turn to whenever these things start to come about. So you mentioned that you really like to do crafts. So because of that, we're going to be making bath bombs today. And to make bath bombs, we do need a couple of ingredients. The main ones are some baking soda, some sea salt, olive oil, which is really moisturizing for your skin, so when you use it in the bath, you're moisturizing yourself as well.
that'll be nice.
And then cornstarch, a bunch of dyes, and you're going to get to choose your own colors,
Ooh.
water to help hold it all together, and then lavender oil. And then lavender is a type of flower. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Well, it's really known for its calming properties. So using it in the bath the night before something stressful is going to happen, like you have to go to an event, can really help calm you down. Maybe. So first thing I'm going to have you do is use this bowl and grab the blue container of sea salt. Okay? And I'm going to have you take the 1/4 measuring cup.
1/4. Okay.
And I'm going to have you make a 1/2 cup of sea salt.
So I just pour it in the bowl.
Nope, pour it in the measuring cup, and then once it's full, then you're going to pour it into the bowl.
Okay. Ooh, this is big salt.
Yeah, that's because it'll make it fizz a little bit more.
Oh. So is it gonna be like fizzy in the bath?
It will be. It'll dye the water a different color, but it's body safe dye. It won't dye your skin. That way you can look at it if you're feeling very anxious that day. You can watch the bath water turn a different color.
That reminds me of my paints that I use in my craft.
Yeah, this is another great tool. It's okay if there's a little bit extra in it.
Yeah, I want a little over.
That's all right.
Okay.
Next, I'm going to have you grab the container of cornstarch.
Okay.
And this time, using the same measuring cup, we're going to do 3/4 cup.
3/4. Can I use this to spoon it in? For the big
Yeah,
one?
you can. That may make it easier. Have you ever bought store-bought bath bombs before?
No, but my older sister, she's used them before.
Okay.
I haven't gotten one. But they always look really cool.
They are. Plus, it's really fun to make, and it's really easy once you get the hang of it. So if you want, because Christmas is coming up, you could always maybe get your own starting kit.
I can.
Mm-hmm.
I can make them for my sister, my mom.
There's tons of different essential oils you can use too. You can use eucalyptus scents or rosemary.
Two. One more.
All right. The next step is going to be the same measuring cup, but this time a cup of baking soda.
Cup of baking soda.
Baking soda. And this is just a base recipe. So if you do decide that you ever want to do this outside of therapy, you can go on something like Pinterest, and there's tons of different recipes you can use.
Ooh, I love Pinterest. I look on there for all my crafts too. too.
Yeah, this is just a simple base recipe.
Baking soda. Two more.
It's kind of just like cooking if you think about it.
It is. It's like when I bake cookies with my mom. We're about to make Christmas cookies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as
Have
soon
a
as
favorite kind, or?
I really like the sugar cookies because I can decorate them. But my mom, she really likes the thumbprint cookies that we put the jelly inside of.
I have actually never had those cookies.
They're really yummy.
All right, so the next step is I'm going to have you use your hands and mix it all together.
Ooh. What feels weird.
Yeah, it can be really relaxing just to watch, just like you're doing.
It's really fun. It kind of reminds me of playing in the snow.
It's perfect for the holidays. It's also kind of like being on the beach and making a sandcastle, if you think about it.
It is. I like the beach.
All right, think it's thoroughly mixed?
I think so.
All right, then the next step is to use the tablespoon and have a tablespoon of oil and then dump it into the powder.
So I just dump it right in.
Yep, just dump it right in. Great, now I'm going to have you mix it again, this time mixing the oil in.
Ooh. Feels weird now. It's getting stuck to my fingers too.
All right, how's it looking?
Does it look right?
It looks great.
Okay.
All right, so the next step is to add a fourth a cup of water in, but I just want you to add half of that first.
Half of it first?
Yep,
Okay.
and then we're going to mix it again. And go ahead and mix it all in.
Ooh, it's cold.
Yep, Just make sure any clumps are broken up and that everything's really mixed in there.
Extra clumpy. Okay.
It's looking great. I would just mix it a little bit more.
A little more.
Yep, you want to make sure everything's broken up so when you go to dye it, the mixture, it doesn't go spotty. Alright, now it looks great. So why don't you go ahead and add the other part of that water. And then mix it again. So does this seem similar to any other activities that you do?
Well, one time I sculpted with some clay that
Okay.
my dad bought, so it kind of reminds me of that with the big clumps that I have to break apart because sometimes I break the clay down.
Yeah. Do you sculpt with clay often, or is that just a one-time thing that you did with your dad?
Every once in a while, not a lot. I really like to draw, so I draw a lot of pictures in my notebook.
Okay.
And my mom and dad told me that sometimes it's good for me to draw out what I feel.
It is really good to draw out how you feel.
So I do that sometimes.
That's a great way to help deal with anxiety whenever it comes around.
And I listen to music sometimes whenever I draw too.
Do you have a favorite type of music to listen to?
I really like country music.
Okay.
I think that's pretty cool.
Does it ever change depending on how you feel, or?
I mean, sometimes whenever I get really excited, I listen to like the pop music that's more upbeat. And then if I get really sad, sometimes I listen to like the classical music that's slower. But I like country the best, I think.
Okay. I'm going to have you add a little bit more of that fourth cup of water. There's still some left in there, I think. You want to make sure that the mixture is wet enough so when you put it into the mold, it'll stick together and come out in the shape of a bath bomb.
Okay.
Is it starting to stick together in your hands?
A little bit. There's still a lot of powder on the outside though.
All right, I think it's ready. So the next thing that I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you take these 4 foam bowls.
Can you test it to make sure it's
Of course I
not
can.
crumbly?
It looks really good. This is the example I made. Now we're not going to be doing quite the same setup.
That's pretty.
Thank you. But you want to make sure it's wet enough because they come out in halves. So it looks great. Now I'm going to have you take these 4 bowls, and I'm going to have you separate that powder into each bowl, so it's even in each one. It's kind of like cooking if you think about it. You have to have certain in each bowl. Then just go ahead and spread the rest out into each bowl. We won't be using the entire bowl of each color, but we just want to make sure we have enough for each one. So now I have a bunch of different colored dyes, and I'm going to have you pick 4 colors from it. You can do whatever colors make you feel happy, or your favorite colors. It's up to you which one you pick.
Pink makes me really happy, so I'll use that one.
Right.
I really like blue too.
Why don't you pick a color now that makes you feel calm?
I think maybe lilac.
Okay.
That makes me feel calm.
It goes perfect with our lavender oil.
It does. And then
Maybe a happy color.
I think yellow makes me really happy.
Okay. Alright, so the next step is I'm going to have you add about 2 drops of the lavender oil into each bowl. Yeah, you can go ahead and smell it. How does that make you feel whenever you smell it?
It reminds me of sitting like in a field of flowers.
Okay.
Which is really nice because I like being outside a lot.
Now I'm going to have you add a little bit of dye into each bowl.
How much dye should I
Just a few drops to start off. You can always add more. So now for each bowl, I want you to mix the dye in until you can't see very much white. And if it's not very dark, we can always add more dye.
Ooh, it looks really pretty.
It's the dyes that are going to give us that nice layered effect for your bath bomb.
I'm excited.
I'm glad you're excited. I think you're going to have a great time trying it out. You're going to have to let the bath bomb sit for at least 24 hours though before you use it.
Why?
Because it needs time to harden and dry out a little bit so it doesn't just fall apart as soon as you put it in. You want to have that nice bubbling effect when you put it in the water.
Yeah, that's what my sister said whenever she got it. She said it fizzled a lot, but she's at school right now, so I didn't actually get to see it.
Well, now you have your own to test out.
I can't wait.
All right. If you want a darker pink, you can add a little bit more dye to it. Yeah. Go ahead and mix that in. All right, it's looking great. Now, why don't you start with the blue?
Blue? Ooh, that one's a lot brighter.
It'll also take a little bit longer to mix it in because it is such a bright color. What kind of colors do you use to draw with? Do you normally use these kinds of colors, or?
Well, sometimes whenever I'm at school, I'll just use my pencil, so it's just like the gray color, but when I'm at home, I'll use my color pencils and my markers. So I have colors like blue and purple and brown. So sometimes whenever I'm really happy, like I'll use the colors like that remind me of being happy, like
Okay.
yellow and orange. And then I like to use purple a lot 'cause it's my favorite color.
Okay, is there a color you use more whenever you're really anxious?
Well, whenever I'm anxious, sometimes it makes me feel sad. So sometimes I use like darker colors, like the dark green or like the dark navy blue, or I don't know. Sometimes I use like brown and stuff, but that's only if I'm really, really anxious.
Okay. You said that the dark blue makes you feel anxious. How does this brighter blue make you feel?
I really like it. It kind of reminds me of like clouds. So
Okay.
whenever I'm like outside, which makes me really happy. So I think this one makes me a lot happier because it does remind me of like the clouds outside.
Okay.
But I don't have a marker in this color. I wish I had a marker in this color.
All right, that one looks great. Now why don't you start on the lilac one? You said purple is your favorite color. Do you like the lighter purples, or do you think you're going to go for a dark purple?
I might make it a little bit darker. It's really light right now. Should I add more
I would
dye?
add some more color in. I would try mixing that in now. It's the lighter colors that make it a little bit harder to get all the white out.
Yeah, this one still has a little bit of white in it.
It doesn't always have to be perfect. A little bit of white gives you that nice spotted color.
Yeah, that'd be cool, like a marble. So should I do yellow next?
Yeah, I would start with yellow now. The yellow will probably be the hardest because it is so similar to the white. So we can always add more if we need it. Alright, it looks great. So now we're actually going to start to assemble the bath bomb. Now, to do that, we have these molds. They're just metal circles, and they're going to press together.
They kind of look like little cake pans.
Exactly. Alright, so to start, I'm going to have you choose whichever color you want to start with for your first layer. Alright, I'm going to have you put a little bit in each half of the mold, and then pack it in. Alright, now do the same exact thing on the other side. Alright, now you can go ahead and choose your second color. And we're going to do the same thing, just putting layer on layer. Is there a reason you're choosing the layers you are?
Well, I think it'll be cool to have the darker color next to the lighter color.
Okay. Alright, do you know what you're going to do for your third color?
Purple.
That's alright. Sometimes it slides around. Alright, so your last color is pink. So what you're going to do is you're going to put enough pink to pack it all the way to the edge of the mold. Now the pink's going to probably be your biggest layer. we're going to be adding extra so it sticks it together. Now I'm going to have you put some extra of the pink powder on top of one half of the mold. Oh, a little bit more than that, probably.
More than that?
Yep. Enough so it's sitting over top of the edge. Because that's going to be like the glue that holds the halves together.
Oh, I see.
All right, I think that's great. Now go ahead and take this half of the mold and put it on top of the other half and press them together as tight as you can.
Do I squish this down first?
Nope, don't squish it down. All right, and now it's going to sit for about 5 minutes before we take it out of the mold. That way it has enough time to really stick together. All right. Now we're just going to let it sit for about 5 minutes.
Should I start cleaning this up?
Yep.
While we wait?
We can start cleaning it up while we wait. So what you can do now is put all the dyes back into this mold. And then put the measuring cups back into the orange wool we used to put it all together. That way we can blend it when we're done. And then you can go ahead and I think just dump the pink into the purple mixture and the blue into the yellow, just to cut down on some of the mess. Ooh. All right, and then you can just stack those. All right. And then we'll get a paper towel once we're completely done taking the bath bomb out of the mold. All right. So it's time to take it out of the mold. So why don't you go ahead and take the top portion off.
I'm really nervous.
I'm sure it's going to look great. All right.
It looks really pretty.
It does look pretty.
You can see the pink and then the blue and the yellow.
Yeah. So now you're going to put your palm over the yellow part of it, so around the top of it, and then slowly flip it over. So you can go ahead and take the top mold off. All right. What do you think?
I like it. It's really pretty.
It's beautiful.
You can see all the different colors.
So, how did doing this activity make you feel? Was it relaxing? Was it?
I felt like it was really relaxing. Like I really liked mixing the stuff, and I think that was really relaxing. And then like different colors, I think kind of helped because they I think because the yellow is more so on the outside, it makes it like happier and brighter, and then the darker colors are like on the inside. So I really like that part of it too. And then I think I really like mixing all the ingredients. It was like making cookies and stuff, which I think was really nice. And then I really liked how it kind of incorporated like the crafts that I like to do. So it was like a cool craft activity that I've never done before.
Yeah. Where else do you think that you could use this when you're outside of therapy?
I think I could like use it whenever I'm home, like since it has to sit for 24 hours. Like I think like since it smells good, like I can smell it while I'm waiting to use it. And then once it's been the 24 hours, I can put it in the bath with me, which I think will help calm me. Like if I took a test or something.
or if I was around like a lot of like big crowds or people, I think that could help me too. Like whenever I come home and have like the warm bath water and then like the pretty colors and stuff.
Do you have anything going on in the future that you might be able to use this?
Um,
Any big tests or family
Well-
get-togethers?
I have a big test in my history class.
Okay.
Because it's right before Christmas break. And then I have a lot of family coming in. So sometimes
Okay.
that makes me a little bit worried because there's going to be a lot of people in the house. So it's going to be really loud all the time. So,
Something that you could do is before the party starts, you could always use the bath bomb. And you
yeah,
can just breathe in the scent of the lavender, you can watch it kind of fizzle.
I think that would help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be nice. Help calm me down before I see everyone.
Yeah, it's a really great tool that you can use in the future. You can also, you said your sister was away at school.
Yeah,
When she comes home for Christmas break, you two could make bath bombs together for gifts for Christmas.
that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that'd be nice because we can hang out and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I can show her like my new craft that I learned how to do and tell her like how it can like help her when she's like at school, like and taking tests and stuff.
Yeah, it also helps yours and hers relationship with each other because sisters can fight sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we do fight. It makes me a little bit worried sometimes, but I think since she's away at school, like I miss her a lot, so that makes me kind of sad. But like when she comes home, I think that that'd be fun to do.
How do you think this is going to help you with your stress? Do you think it's going to help you at all? Do you think this might be something you're going to continue to use?
Yeah, I think I can like make it whenever I get really stressed. Like I can sit down and make it like on the weekend or something, and then like make them like for people because I really like giving people gifts. So like giving them to people. So like I can maybe make one for like my mom or my grandma or something, and then give it to them.
So, even if you can't use it right away, like let's say you're out at the mall shopping for presents for Christmas, and you're starting to feel really anxious, you can always use it as something to focus your mind on. You can always think about how the colors kind of all mix together in the water, and you can practice focusing on the scent of it, because that was a pretty significant scent, right?
Mm-hmm. It smells really good.
You can also change it out sometimes for different scents.
That'd be cool. I think some of them you can maybe get some for whenever you're like excited,
Mm-hmm.
and then some like this to help you whenever you're like stressed or whenever I'm feeling like anxious and stuff.
All right. So now I'm going to have you do the same exact test that we did in the beginning.
Okay.
But this time I want you to measure how anxious you are now. So it's the same thing. 0 is really calm.
I broke it a little bit.
That's okay. It falls apart in the water anyway.
Can we like put it back together
We
later?
can put it back together later.
Okay.
But before we do that, I'm going to have you finish out this test.
Okay.
So just like in the first test, 0 means you're really calm. Nothing's really bothering you right now. When 10 is you're super anxious, you're not sure what to do, you're starting to panic. So if you could just kind of place yourself on a scale from 0 to 10 on where you might be.
I put a 1.
Okay, and your first test said you started out at a 6.
Yeah.
So you think the activity helped you?
I think so. I think I was like a little worried about like doing the activity because I've never done it before. But I feel like after doing it and touching everything and then like getting to pick out like all the different colors and like thinking about like how they made me feel and then like smelling the different scents and stuff. Like I think that helped a lot and then like getting to put it in there and wait, like the excitement of like wondering what it looks like and stuff. Like I think that helped calm me down when I came in, I was just worried that like it wasn't gonna look good and what people would think of me. But I feel better now because it turned out well.
Was there anything you really didn't like about the activity?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I liked all the colors and stuff. I wish that the purple would have like shown through a little bit more than what it did. But other than that, I like it. Like this piece that broke off a little bit, like you can see it also. I think
Yeah.
whenever like it goes into the water and stuff, you'll be able to like
You'll start to
all
see
the
it more.
colors. So I think that'll be cool because it'll be like another surprise whenever you get it.
Yeah, so this is something you can use after the 24-hour mark just to make sure it all sticks together. You can use it whenever you're starting to feel anxious over maybe your big history test or your family get together or you're really missing your sister one day because she's not home yet. So you can also do this on your own. It doesn't just have to be a therapy-only activity.
That's exciting. Maybe I'll change it in for like one of my different crafts that I would do.
Yeah, it's great to have a really big toolbox to pull from whenever you are feeling anxious.
Do they make different sizes?
They do. They have really small ones. They have even bigger ones. Even if you can't get the mold, you can use cupcake tins.
I can make like square ones and stuff for like different like feelings I have. Like I can use different shapes and stuff.
You can. You can use a heart for whenever you're feeling really happy.
Yeah.
You can use just the regular mold whenever you really don't have the motivation to try and think of something. You can use a box whenever you want things to just be kind of clear cut. There's a bunch of different things you can do with it.
I think the only other thing that I didn't like was like how messy at the end, like my fingers got. So I wish like we had some wipes or something.
Okay.
But I think that's like you can use the sink and stuff after.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's nice that we have the sink there to be able to use.
It is nice that we have a sink to use.
Yeah, I like that.
Alright, so since we just finished this, it kind of looks like since our goal was to find something to help you lower your anxiety, seeing that you went from a 6 all the way down to a 1, does that mean you kind of feel a little bit less anxious right now?
Yeah.
And that it worked? Okay. Well, because we took a look at this, let's take a look at your other paper you did after your first initial test.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about what causes your anxiety. It says you don't like large crowds and what people think of you. Do you think doing this activity before going into a large crowd would help? Or do you think it would help more to do it after?
I think it depends on how long I'm in the crowd for. Like, I think
Okay.
if I just see a large crowd, like if I'm going shopping or something, like maybe doing it before would be nice because then I wouldn't get as anxious and I could like shop longer than I would be if I like already started at a 6.
Okay.
But I think if I knew that I was going somewhere like for a longer day, I could do it after to help calm me down, or I could even do it like before and after, so that way my stress is lowered before and then lowered again after.
That's a great thought. And you also mentioned school. Is it just school itself, or is it tests in school? Is there anything about school that really causes some anxiety for you?
I think being in class, like, and kind of thinking, like, what people think of me, that's one, and then, like, I think, like, thinking about, like, going to college, or, like, I mean, like, I don't know, like, going to college, or even, like, finishing, like, high school and stuff, I think that's pretty stressful, and then, like, taking my tests and stuff, because I want to try to do good on my tests, and then a lot of times I have problems, like, with presentations and stuff.
Okay.
Like, talking in front of people because I get worried like what they think of me. So like that's really hard for me to like stand in front of everybody whenever they're all staring at me.
Okay. Now, how do you think you can use this bath bomb activity to help you with that anxiety with presentations, let's say?
I think if I do it like before like the school day, because I usually get anxious like thinking about my presentation, so I'm like anxious like the whole week. So I think if I make a lot of them like before, it would help me, and then like do some like the night before my presentation, so that way I'm like calmer when I'm going in to like do my presentation. I think that would help a lot. And then I think that maybe like I could like post about my bath bombs and stuff, and I think that maybe like people would think that's like pretty cool, and then like maybe that would help like what they think of me sometimes, like whenever I get worried about that. So like that might help like with me presenting, like I don't know, I think that might help like what they think of me whenever I present. And then I could also I think do some of them after I'm done with the day, because I would present and then still like be walking around like with the crowds of people in the hallways and stuff, so like that might help after too.
Okay. And now, instead of just a before and after type of thing, is there any way you can think of how this activity could help you, let's say, during your presentation or right before your presentation, when you don't have access to actually use
I think maybe like the smell could help. Like I can keep it in my locker or something, so it like makes my locker smell good. So that way whenever I go before class, like I have like the smell that could help me and stuff, since it smells good, and like that helps calm me down too. So I think maybe like that would be good if I keep it in my locker, so that like I can smell it before I go do my presentation.
Okay. And now I know you said that thinking about your future causes you some anxiety. And while that's not necessarily an actual scenario that you can use this before or after, do you think that you can still use this to help you with that anxiety?
Yeah, I think I could, because like in the future I could use it, like so whenever I have there I could. And then some days like I just get really worried about changing stuff, so like a lot of times like before the end of the school year, like whenever I know that like we're gonna have a new school year, like over the summer sometimes I get anxious. Or like even thinking about like getting a new job soon, like that makes me kind of anxious about my future. It's kind of like the first step into like getting like a real job and like becoming an adult. So I think that would help me too, because like I would have like the sight or senses and stuff like the smell. So I think that might help me a lot whenever I'm like on my first day of work or like something like that, or even like thinking whenever I really worry when I'm thinking about my future, like I can think about when I've made the bath bombs, and that might help, or like think about whenever I'm like taking a bath with them and like what it looks like. That might help like me imagining it too.
Yeah, so now you kind of have some ideas of when you leave here, how you can use this bath bomb activity when these situations come up. And you also noted that you are having some physical symptoms of anxiety. Were you feeling sick at all, or were you bouncing your legs and feel like you couldn't sit still before we started the activity?
Before we started the activity, I was bouncing my legs a lot, so I was just nervous. But now I'm not as much.
Okay, I noticed you aren't bouncing your legs.
Yeah.
And you're not picking at your fingers as much as you were.
Yeah, I'm just rubbing the stuff off them because it's on my fingers. But yeah, I think that helps some like calming those, because sometimes that makes me more anxious whenever I like do stuff like that.
Okay. And you also had told me some of the emotions you felt besides just anxiety whenever you were feeling that way. What kind of emotions were you feeling right before we started the activity?
I was a little worried like starting the activity, just because I didn't know what we were doing, but I was also like really excited
Okay.
like doing it too. So it was like a little bit of both. So it wasn't. That's why I picked the 6, because it wasn't like I was just worried and that's it. But I was like also kind of excited. So I picked the 6. So it was kind of in the middle. But I was a little bit more nervous than I was excited, just because I didn't know
Well, can you identify any of the emotions you're experiencing right now that we're completely done with the activity?
I mean, now I'm just really happy. Like, I really like it, and I'm like excited to like do it at home and like show my mom and dad and like my sister whenever she comes home, or even like the family that's coming in to visit. Like, I can like show them, or like we can all do it together or something. So I think that would be like really exciting too.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad you were able to pick out some of the emotions you were feeling at that time, and you have some really great ideas for how to use this in the future. Now, you also already had a couple of ideas of how to cope with anxiety, such as you like to listen to country music and you love to draw either during class or at home. Can you think of any ways you can like combine these two things together, just in case one in itself isn't working?
I mean, I can listen to music like while I'm making the bath bombs.
Okay.
So that might like help out a lot too, because then I'm like doing both, and since like listening to music helps me sometimes, like I think doing both would like really help lower even like past the one. And then I think that drawing, like since I like to draw like what I feel, like I can draw out myself like making bath bombs, or like draw out the different bath bombs and like what they look like when you like drop them in the water and stuff with all like the colors swirling. So I think that'd be cool to like look at and like remind me of like the bright colors and stuff. So I think that would be really cool too.
All right. Well, I'm really glad that we were able to do this activity today and that we were able to get you all the way from a 6 down to a 1. And I think we came up with some really great ideas for how to use this in the future. So why don't we fix this bath bomb? And then I'm really glad you were able to do this activity with me today. I hope you had a lot of fun because I had a lot of fun. And I'm really excited that now you had the chance to do this with me.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for showing it to me.
You're welcome. I'm glad you had fun. Now that our activity is complete, we're going to start and discuss our contributions. I was the leader for this scenario because I had done a similar activity for my original activity. She was my client. Because we're such a small group, we neglected to have a co-leader in the scenario and decided to not bring in other members because we decided that those with anxiety may do best with a one-on-one scenario at first.
For my personal contributions, I researched all the information that was presented at the beginning of our video. And for her personal contributions, she went ahead and just brought in all of the supplies that she had previously had from her other activity involving bath bombs.